Hi folks, Josh again. This is the 14th and final video in our GIS overview series. And in this one, I am actually going to show you how to print a map using the county GIS. As you can see, I've kind of pre-filled our map with some information. I have the parcel layer on, I have the topography layer on, I have the impervious surface layer on, and I've also drawn the potential outline of a rain garden here on our turnaround circle. And so from here, we're going to go all the way over to the left on our tool tab and hit print. So when you hit print, it puts on the screen a red rectangle. And basically whatever is within that red rectangle will be what is eventually printed onto a PDF or into a JPEG, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But you'll notice that if you move this around, that red screen doesn't move anywhere. So say I wanted to move this red screen over or rearrange it so that it's a little bit more centered on our potential rain garden. There's an option down here on the bottom left that says lock print preview with map. And if you hit that toggle, it actually allows you to then move where that print screen is going to be. So as you can kind of see here, you'll see this a little bit better when you're practicing with the GIS. There's crosshairs there. And I'm going to move the crosshairs right on top of our potential rain garden. Once I have the print screen where I want it, I'm going to lock it again. And then just very briefly, I'm going to go over some of the options here. This does give you the option to print on an 8.5 by 11 or an 11 by 17. I'm going to leave it at an 8.5 by 11 for now. You can also decide what output you want your map to be. Typically, you're going to probably either use a PDF or a JPEG. I'm going to leave it as a PDF for now. For resolution, I typically like to make it into 150. That makes it a little bit more of a clear image as you're printing. This is not something you typically really change, especially if you have your print screen where you want it. It sets the scale. This title allows you to label your drawing for this. I'm going to label it Potential Rain Garden at Arlington Echo. And then I'm going to make a note here and say near the WSA trailer. So once you have that, all of these guys decided with what you want, you have your title in and you have your notes in, you're going to want to hit the print button right here. So it will take a couple seconds for the GIS to prepare the file, but once it is ready, it will say that it's ready and it'll give you the option to open the file. So I'm going to go ahead and hit open file. It opens up a new tab. And you'll see that whatever was in that red rectangle is now in the screen here. You'll see that the label that we put in for the title has now shown up at the top. So Potential Rain Garden at Arlington Echo. And then where we entered in our notes is down here on the right-hand side. It says near the WSA trailer. And then whatever layer list you have on when you print your map will actually show up here in the legend area. So if you remember, I had the parcels layer on, I had the topography layer on, and I had the impervious surfaces on. So that pre-populates here. One thing that I do want to show, and specifically this will be for impervious surfaces and maybe your soils, just because it shows up in the legend doesn't necessarily mean it's on your map. That's just one of the side effects of having so many different options. But you can still see that you can determine what your building is, your sidewalk, and the parking area here. The last really great thing about producing a map this way is that it will actually print to a scaled size, meaning that you can measure using a ruler or a scale ruler different different measurements within the map here. So typically from 0 to 40 will be an inch, meaning that an inch on this map will equal 40 feet. So that's really helpful when you're in the field and you're trying to measure things. So once you have this prepared, you have a couple options. This is a PDF, so you can actually hit this guy up here, which will allow you to save it wherever you want to save it. You can relabel your file here. I'm just going to call it Rain Garden at Echo, and that will save it onto my desktop because that's where I decided to save it. And from here, you can also print if you have a printer ready. And so if you hit the print button and you choose your printer, one thing that I want to point out here is you want to make sure that under scale that you do not select, you want to select the default size. Otherwise, it'll mess up your scale of the drawing. So then from there, you can hit print and that should pop out on your printer. But with that, that is the end of this video and the end of this series. We've covered a lot of information. And as I said at the start of the series, if any of you have questions or are feeling a little intimidated, do not hesitate to reach out to me and schedule office hours, which are Wednesdays 1 through 3. I'm happy to help as I can. And I am positive that some of you are going to be at different parts with this, different skill sets. So please do not hesitate to let me know if you're having some issues or having some concerns. We're here to help. Thanks.